of you wanting to start a contract business in other industries, this some of this information can apply to. So, because I've invited some friends of mine as well to come check this out. Anyway, primarily, and I'm gonna primarily is about WordPress development or web development, tech, what have you. But let's just jump right into this. Hold on. Okay, Destiny, you have to give me the option to screen share.
I got you. Says one can share at a time. Okay, it looks like I got to turn on all participants. So,
Okay, that's fine. We'll just have to delete people as they go if they get a little rowdy.
all right, there you are.
Bam. Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
All right, cool. Okay. Bam. All right. So about myself, my name is George. You may remember me from the WordPress WordCamp US presentation. If not, I am a WordPress developer, specifically Marcom website specialist. My lane is I primarily help public sector organizations, nonprofits, and B2B businesses. In a nutshell, like pretty much a lot of people, build websites, make sure they're online, make sure they're good to go. I love what I do. I've been doing it now. This is 2023. In November, well, this past November, it would have been 10 years for me. So I'm extremely excited about that. But I enjoy what I do every day, and I get to have fun doing it. So I'm going to get right to it, so I won't waste any time. Today's goal is there isn't 100% plan to get you from novice to skilled as a contractor. But what I'm going to do today is kind of uncover a lot what I've learned through trial and error and partnering with other people to help others get into the contracting space. Working with government agencies. I mean, a lot of this applies even working with nonprofits or even nonprofits funded by government agencies. That's a thing as well. So the whole purpose of today is to break down what that looks like to you. I'm going to show you some certifications that you can actually obtain. I'm working on one right now that will help give you a leg up in the procurement process. At the end, I'm actually going to show you one of my winning presentations, because I currently, as far as the government side of things, I work with, I have three. Yes, 3 clients in the government sector, and I have a couple clients in the nonprofit sector. So I'm going to show you the winning presentations that I use to actually do this, so it could help give you some inspiration. And as a biggest bonus, I just actually found this out a few minutes before I got on the call, is I got another partnership idea that I can now reveal to the BlackPress crew, or anybody who wants to take advantage of it. And on top of, I will send you out, there's a link at the end that you can go to and fill out just a form on my website. And I'll actually send you a copy of the presentation, some of the information that I will be mentioning that's not physically in the presentation. And then also there's some added goodies for like LinkedIn information, and they'll make sense later on why. But that's whole goal for today, is try to get you a leg up, get you started, and get you some inspiration into breaking into RFP or government contracting. So one of the reasons I decided to want to get into government contracting is that the amount of opportunities that are available. If you see the stats here, there's over 80,000 state and local government agencies in the US. Federal, there are 438. And in the nonprofit sector, there's 1.5 million registered nonprofits in the United States. If you could only capture 0.1% of that, that will be great. And that was the whole goal for me, is that I wanted to get to a specific spot in my career to where I don't, I'm not focused so much on winning everything. I just want to work with who I want to work with. And same thing in Canada. We have a lot of our friends who are in the other part of North America. In Canada, there's over 3,000 government agencies and 80,000 registered nonprofits. So, with the US and Canada having trade agreements there's a lot of crossover that can happen. And I'll show you, as far as like certifications wise, how that works too. But there's plenty of opportunity. I mean, there's so much out there that many of us could get a hold of. Even if you just have one or two good opportunities that lucrative wise can set you up, that's a good thing. But it puts you at a point where now you're not chasing so many clients or chasing so many potential opportunities. You have just a few that you're working with, and you're still able to have a sustainable living. So next, what is some of the benefits of contracting? Now, these are my own personal benefits of contracting. So there's no type of research behind it. But the first is sustainable income and occupational independence. When I set out to do this, I had a kind of a light bulb moment when I was working in telecom. I worked in telecom in a customer service position. And I kind of had a light bulb moment of, I can work as hard as I am on a regular 9-to-5 job in a business and still make the same amount, if not more money. So there's no cap there. So I wanted to be able to do something that I enjoy doing that can make me a sustainable income, and then afford me the opportunity to work, which is where occupational independence comes from. When I work with who I want to work with and how long I want to work. One of my long-term goals is to actually only work 10 months out of the year and reserve November and December at the end of the year to completely just relax and rest. So, and on top of that, what people talk about retirement and all that jazz, I don't want to essentially retire because I'm not a workaholic so much, but I want to be able to enjoy my life and make it flexible enough to where I can work when I want to. And then if I don't feel like working for a couple months, I can do that because I've made enough sustainable income to keep me in that place. And then the second is more of a business side of things. It's less decision fatigue. As many people know who's worked in WordPress development as an agency or freelancer, or even just any type of business that you try to get clients, there's a lot of decision fatigue that goes on. You come across people, I'm sure if you're the WordPress developer, you got this question 1,000 times, like, oh man, you think you can build my website for me? I get it every day. But there's a lot of decision fatigue where people, you start having the conversation and then people go ghost. So one of the beauties of working in the contracting space is that 9 times out of 10, when you find out about these projects that are coming available, whether it's through RFP notification or if it's, the actual procurement officers or communication managers or whatever are coming to you, they are ready to buy right then, there, and now. I will say the sales process is a little bit longer in this space. So, there's not really a turnaround in a week sometimes. Sometimes it takes a couple months, I will be honest, but you'll win on the back end to sacrifice that time on the front end. So, but the beauty of it is decision fatigue. Many of the people are ready to buy right then and there. They're ready to go. They have, the procurement officer or whoever holds the credit card or checkbook in hand, ready to start the project, soon, whether it's a couple weeks from now or a month or two from now. So that's one of the beauty things that I like about working in the contracting space. There's less decision fatigue. Now, some of the bread and butter of this presentation, what do they look for? In my experience I've bidded over on hundreds of contracts, and I've won a few of them. This is some of the most repetitive information that they look for. Are you a legitimate business? Do you have, let me expound on that. Legitimate business part, are you a legal entity? And on the next slide, I'll break down some of the information that they look for. Are you a legal entity? The business of government is to do business with other businesses. They don't work with partnerships, or they don't like to. There's some that will, but they mostly don't like to. They want to work with businesses, entities that are registered either within the state, or in there are certain systems on the federal level that you have to register. But are you registered? Have you been verified? There is validity to the business that you do. Number two, relevant experience. I mean, that's kind of universal across the board. So, if what they're looking for, have you done it already? And there's levels to some of the relevant experience, and I'll talk about that in a future slide as well. But can you actually complete the work that they're looking for? That's plain and simple. Number three, communication. Many of these agencies, they are looking for someone that's very timely in their communication, and it's not so much a immediate thing, but they're busy too, but they do want to see someone that has a pretty reasonable turnaround. And there's not really a standard number behind it. For myself, I will say I try to be very prompt in my communication while I inform them, like, hey, live, I'm available from 9 to 5 Central Standard Time. 9 to 4, Central Standard Time. And then anything after that is really reserved for emergencies, because, we have family time, people have lives. So I don't want to make people feel like that I'm available 24/7. But they get it. They just want to know, in the event something happens, will they know? Will you know? And how would that be communicated? So communication is key. And four, how reliable are you? They want to be able to trust you, because when you think about it, they're forking over money to try to get services done. And can they trust you to get it done, one, and get it done in a reasonable amount of time, and get it done with quality? And quality is it is subjective, but it's more of, is this, in the case of WordPress development, is it secure? Do they have to worry about something that's going to break in like 2 months? The beauty of WordPress, it's a project that is constantly being maintained and upgraded and things. So is it reliable for future-proof use? And since WordPress is one of those things that is, it's a good thing. But not only just the product, but are you a reliable person? And the relevant experience can speak to that, because if you have clients that has given you, reviews, I do highly recommend, I'll add that in the file as well, but I do highly recommend, if you have previous experience, getting case studies done. They don't have to be extensive. The case study that's in the proposal I'm going to show you it's actually 1 page for two of the government entities that I've done work for. So it doesn't have to be nothing fancy. It's nothing extensive. They just want to know, are you reliable? Can you get the work done? And can we sleep at night knowing that what we are paying you for is taken care of? That's really it. Now, moving on to the legitimate business part, this is mostly what they look for. Most RFPs that I've scoured, 95% of them, well, all of them ask for at least 1 through 3. All of them ask for that much. But the fourth one is kind of optional. So the first is an EIN or tax ID number. It might be referenced something, excuse my ignorance, but if it's referenced something else in Canada, I don't know what the name is, but it really is your business social. So if you have a tax ID number or EIN for your business, they want to know that. Registered entity, are you LLC, your corporation? Usually those two are primarily the ones that I see them do business with. If they accept others, I haven't seen that mentioned, but those two, LLC and corporations incorporated, are primarily the ones that I've seen, except that I have a LLC myself. Next is a business bank account. They have to send the money somewhere, so you want to make sure you have a business bank account. And when I say that, I mean literally using your tax ID number to register a business bank account, because talking to other people, I've heard them using personal accounts, and that's a huge no-no, because that can get you in trouble for liability purposes. And actually, in reference to that, number 4, insurance, many of them do ask that you have some type of small business insurance. Believe it or not, it's extremely inexpensive. I know last quote that I got, it's roughly like $20 to $40 a month, depending on, what other riders, which are like features of the insurance you have, if it's just general liability, if you're, like I said, if you get into contracting industries, there's sometimes automobile insurance that's required, disaster recovery insurance. There's so many different options you can add to it. Some of the contracts I've reviewed do ask for it, some of them don't. If you choose to go after those, that's totally up to you. um Maestro asked, do I have recommendation for business insurance? Hiscox, Hiscox, that's a very popular one that I do recommend. I fortunately haven't had to use insurance, but having it and not needing it versus needing it and not having it, you don't want to put yourself in that position. So I know Hiscox is one. That's a very good one. I believe it's can't think of the other name. I think it's either Allstate or Errors and Omission. That was the other name I couldn't get. And Errors and Omission insurance. That's what I was trying to say. I appreciate that clarification. But there's one other company that's highly recommended. But and yes, Alex, you're correct. Sometimes cyber liability. The RFPs themselves would tell you specifically, what type of insurance they're looking for and how much the amounts you should be insured for. So that's usually explained in there too. But there are many different ones. Hiscox is a very, very, very reputable one. I would suggest that one. Moving on to the relevant experience part. Previous clients. That's one that's always the best. Have you worked on a project similar to this one? Previous clients is always best. The second one is kind of a interesting one. Jobs is references. So I've worked in this space as a WordPress developer for close to 10 years now. And I've actually used previous jobs as references for projects I've bidded on and won. So it is viable if you've left previous jobs and have a great working relationship still with the previous employer and someone there that can truly speak to your capabilities. By all means, use it. I've even talked to procurement officers that are completely open with that. I mean, myself as a solo agency owner, that would kind of make sense. But if you have a bigger agency with multiple people on your team, that could kind of be funny. But I mean, something's better than nothing. I'll put it that way. Number 3, consulting experience. Maybe there's a project that you are trying to bid on that you don't have direct experience, one for one, but you have enough consulting expertise where you have made educated. Tina is called Hiscox, Hiscox. And Destiny dropped the link to the website in the chat, so check that out. But if you don't have one-on-one experience with the project, maybe you have some consultative experience, that allows you to speak to the knowledge that you can apply to help them solve the problem that they have. And just overall sharing your expertise. You'll be surprised. When I say that, I mean like in different mediums, webinars, any content that you share on social media. I've had quite a few who've actually reached out to me on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn, who has reached out to me via LinkedIn and asked to participate in a bidding process and have gotten, I've won some and I've lost some, but that has helped. They found my content on social media, said it was very informative. I helped them actually solve a problem, and they called me up and say, hey, let's talk, and it moved on from there. So, I mean, there's many different ways that the relevant experience factor can help you get in the door for winning these type of projects. So don't shy away from bidding for it. And yes, Destiny said it sounds stressful. It can be. I'm gonna be completely honest. It can be initially, but and like Maestro said, like Pop said on Friday, you win some, you lose some, but you fight to sleep another day. That is absolutely true. So the key to winning a lot of the projects is more of a numbers game. And I'm going to unravel some of that later in the presentation. But yes, you have to stick with it. But don't shy away from your experience. You know, whatever type of experience, even if maybe you have built a plugin for the WordPress ecosystem, or built something or done something that's kind of like a hobby project that can correlate with what you're trying to bid on, share that, because that still shows your skill and expertise for the people that are looking for the services that you provide. So anything can help. Don't be scared to share any of what you've done. Anything can help. Now, next, certifications. This is the fun part. So to kind of set the stage for this, there are, both in US and Canada, there are diversity councils, and I'm pretty sure you are thoroughly aware that diversity, equity, inclusion, DEI, is a big topic as of late. And these programs have been established years ago, but not many people are aware they even exist. Just harping on my own experience. So I've been doing this for over 10 years now, but the contracting piece of it, I didn't actually get started until 2015. Yes, I was in grad school. And when I was in grad school, and I went to grad school to study computer science, so I can dive full head first into learning WordPress development and building my agency and such and such. And a guy called the office one day, and I was a graduate assistant as well. So the secretary answered the phone. He was looking for a web developer, voila. And I went and met the guy. And the guy told me what he does, which is he has his own business. He does warehousing, logistics, and unarmed security, manned services is what it's called, for the state and federal government. And I was like, that sounds interesting. And he, I would meet with him, did the client thing, but eventually I was more interested in what he done and how he got into it. So he sat me down and told me a lot about how this goes. And told me about the programs that are out there, so many others. And then eventually I found someone that actually gave me a lot of reading material that got me to the point I am now. And one of the beauties that I found within the contracting space is certifications for minority-owned, women-owned, and veteran-owned small businesses. So going down the list, this is kind of a more, the first one in the minority space is more of a, just the kind of an industry standard acronym, but you can find it anywhere. There's the MBE, the Minority Business Enterprise Certification. You can find this, most states have them. I live in Texas, but my business is still registered in my home state, which is Alabama, and they have a minority business opportunity office. And I'm made a relationship with the guy who runs that program, so I'm in process of getting my MBE right now. But most states have them. There are regional councils as well, and that's what the third bullet point is. But the Minority Business Enterprise Certification is specifically set aside for minority-owned businesses, which are classified as any BIPOC businesses, persons of color, Black, Indigenous, that are 51% or more majority owned. You qualify just off of that if you're a registered business. And there are also other qualifications. You have to, register you have to be registered in the state that you get your certification. There's paperwork and stuff that you have to submit about your business, usually like financial statements and references, and there are many different criteria. But if you can Google that based on your area, you can find it. Excuse me. And there's statewide and there's regional, and I'll cover the third bullet point about that. But in Canada, I did some homework. There's the CAMSIC, I've been told, but it's the same thing. It's a minority supplier council. It operates similar to the National Minority Supplier Development Council, which is the third bullet point. They actually have a partnership with the same board. So if you are a certified minority-owned business from that council in the US, you can actually apply for the one in Canada, and there would give you more points to be able to gain that same certification. But if you're in Canada, they have one in Canada as well. For women, there's the National Council for Women Business Enterprises. And then you have the Women-Owned Small Business Certification. Usually federal level looks for this, but any women-owned business could obtain this type of certification. And in Canada, there's a WBE, so it's the same thing there. If you're a veteran, for those who may have served in the military, we do appreciate your service. There's a veteran-owned small business certification. When I first moved to Texas in 2017, there I did some contract development work for a marketing agency here in Houston, and the guy who owns that one, he's a veteran-owned small business certified organization, and he told me how it has helped him quite a bit. And there's also a service disabled version of that too. So if you've been in the service and got disabled, you've been certified to be disabled, you can obtain that same certification with a special, I think it's qualifiers that's added to it. So there's many different certifications that you can get that will help you. I will tell you for sure, speaking with procurement officers, people who work in the military, in the procurement offices that, review RFPs. She's on here, one of my good friends, Amisha. We talk about business 100% of the time. She works in the contracting space as well. And they would tell you that many of the projects that are submitted or that are released, I should say, many of the organizations are looking for minority businesses that are certified with this. They look for the businesses, yes, and you can get them, but having that MBE certification gives you a better chance of winning it. Or even, women-owned business or veteran-owned businesses, getting those certifications will help you quite a bit. There are even projects I know in the state and federal level that are actually set aside specifically for organizations with these type of certifications. So if it does help you, Gene said, are there government municipality certifications? I have no clue. I don't know. I would check maybe in your state or local area to see. These are just the ones that I'm aware of based off of the previous projects I've been on and what I'm applying for. But there are certifications for a lot of different things in this space. So, but these are the ones primarily that I've come across and actively working on. So if there are any others that you may know of, welcome to look them up or Google them or something. I would say if there's like a small business, and I was just actually going to say that, Alex, if there is a local small business office in your county or state or area that you live in, they offer the information for all of those programs. That's actually how I got aware of a lot of this stuff. If you go to even your Chamber of Commerce, Destiny, the Chamber of Commerce more than likely would have it as well. They can, if they don't have all of the information, they can at least get you what they know and point you in the right direction to find out what else you need to know. So yeah, there's so much of it out there. Now, the last one, newest partnership. This is something I've actually myself have been working on in the background. So one of the things that I set as a goal for myself this year is to take the lid off of my contract. And we talked about this in the BlackPress Slack. And I was taking the lid off my contracting to be able to further myself in contracting, but not only do that, but provide information of getting other owners, agency owners, no matter what capacity, to help them join the ranks of getting into contracting. Because it's as you saw the stats earlier, there's plenty of opportunity out there for anybody. So I actually got word about an hour ago before I hopped on this call to let the cat out the bag. This is not something I'm like over. This is only something that I've established. Many of you know, when I went to, I was not went to, but when I was presenting in WordCamp US, you may have saw my t-shirt. It said Run to VIP. And when I got off stage, the CTO who is over VIP, I got a chance to meet with him personally. We striked up a conversation, talked quite a bit. About 2-3 weeks after that, I reached out to him about establishing some type of partnership, because I know WordPress VIP has a partnership program, but I know there's a bar that you have to obtain to get in that program. Well, in the midst of doing that, I was actually introduced to the lady who is over the head of strategic partnerships for WordPress VIP, and we have had a very thorough conversation. And that conversation actually entails that WordPress VIP, the lady Greta is her name specifically, she is actually heading a diversity initiative to start bringing on more minority-owned, women-owned agencies within the partnership program, so we could have access to more VIP level projects. And the biggest beauty of that is they are actually creating a vertical program, a partner program vertical, specifically for public sector. Destiny put the link to their partner program, but this particular information is not on the page, so this is kind of breaking news. But they are actually working on a public sector partner program, so it would allow people to apply, and if they have previous experience or want to get experience in the contracting space of working with state, local, and federal government, you can do that. I've actually been I've actually been given the green light to provide Greta's contact information. So at the end, when you can fill out the form to be sent like all the presentation material, her contact info is in there. And she has told me graciously, anybody who is wanting to learn more about the public sector VIP program, to contact her. She is more than welcome to help you out and educate you about what's going on. But they also allow people to refer projects. I'm actually working with one of their sales team members right now bidding on a project. So if that goes through, that would actually put me in as a silver partner in the VIP program. So if you have the desire, and yes, Destiny, I didn't get to that. That is true. The WordPress VIP is FedRAMP certified. So what that also provides you is an additional additional bonus points in the eyes of many of the government agencies that you have partnership with, the infrastructure that they require to host any of their applications. FedRAMP is a very complicated process, Greta has told me, but they are working on getting higher levels of approval. But I will tell you, like, go for it. There's plenty of opportunity out there. If you come across even any of your own government, potential government projects, and you want to reach out to them, they will actually, partner with you about, them being the infrastructure side, and then being the other side, it would be you actually building the website. They just provide the hosting and security. You would build the stuff. So yes, WordPress VIP has a diversity initiative going on right now. Ms. Greta has been more than gracious. So once I get more information about it, if you don't reach out to her, if I get more information about it, I will definitely let everyone know what's going on, but do not hesitate to do it. So enjoy that, take that information with what you may, but I really hope that you try to take a part of that, because that will help you become successful. Now, as far as the actual RFPs themselves, I know many people get them via email, but I've actually met a few people who have agencies in the partnership program. So I might talk about that later. But if you want to actually get a hold of some of the RFPs, actually where they are, there's 4 places. And this is not something I'm telling you as a guest. I use these actively. LinkedIn, Google, there's a website called RFP Mart, M-A-R-T. And then another site, this is more newer, called Prosel.io. Every last one of these sites is what I use every day, literally every day, to scour the web to find out what new projects are out there. And it has paid off, because I've won quite a few just doing this. In the additional material that I'm going to send you, there are LinkedIn DM messages that are like scripts and templates. So if you come across one of these type of RFPs and you want to reach out to someone on the team, you can just DM them and say, hey. Or there's a lot of cold DM templates in there too. So if you want to reach out to someone, maybe you found their site and there's some stuff for value that you can provide, there's some options in there. There's quite a bit. And then there on the LinkedIn and Google side, if you're not familiar, there's what's called search operators. You can type in specific words in a certain fashion to actually scour LinkedIn or Google to show you what RFPs are available. So you can find them out, as soon as they come out. This is like, again, it's something I do every day. I don't know. The William and Ada mentioned about the metaverse opportunities. I don't know. I've never looked. I'm sure they're out there. If not from actual building a project, but also maybe from an educational standpoint. I'm pretty sure there's some out there, but I don't know. RFP Mart. That's kind of like it's kind of like the Amazon of RFPs. It is an entire database full of RFPs for a slew of different opportunities. Excuse me. They have, I'm overcoming a cold. RFP Mart has a database that you could search for any new projects that are out there for many different, all over the world, matter of fact, but for many different categories: web development, digital marketing, a bunch of other things. And Prozil is the same exact thing. Prozil actually is a newer one, but it's the same thing. They have some others that will provide you the budget up front, which is a big thing that, in this space that you don't get a chance to understand, which goes back to the decision fatigue. And it's very flexible to where they send you like RFPs every day. So that's a pretty cool feature of their platform. Let's see, Joe. I haven't made it to silver status yet. That's a goal. But I do plan on it. I really do. With developing this relationship with VIP, I do plan on doing it. As far as growing in international work, yes. I've bidded on some projects as far as India. I have one of my colleagues, someone in my network, me and him, we interface quite a bit talking about different things, and we help each other out quite a bit. And he actually just finished a nonprofit project of a client that's been his for 6 years. And they are in India. So, I mean, the opportunities are out there. I do plan on working on international. I try not to limit myself in that regard because I like to travel too. So if I work with someone, it'd be cool to actually visit where they're living. So yes. As far as the approach from the contracting position, from what I have seen, it's somewhat the same. They want to know, excuse me, are you a reliable person? Are you an actual registered business? Do you have relevant experience? It pretty much applies there. Now, as far as the certification part, is I know outside of Canada, I don't know, but I know with partnering with programs like VIP would help you because there are, global businesses that come to VIP looking for someone to help them out. So I do know that part. Maestro, you're crazy. Maestro also caught me slipping when I was giving my presentation at WordCamp, and I was like, okay, I didn't think he was going to ask a question, but thanks for that. So no, I'm not allergic to cats. But anyway, the process of doing it, I don't know how it works for some of the international partners, but I know as far as information they look for, it's much the same. So definitely. Now, how do you actually win? And this is something that a lot of people kind of fall by the wayside with because as we said earlier, that it is a laborious process to go through the RFP process. So as far as actually winning, these are some of the things that I've derived from my own winning of contracts. it's a numbers game. What I mean by that is the more that you bid, the more that you actually, more likely you have a chance of winning. I would suggest maybe setting aside, how many clients you want to work with in a year, or how many projects you want to work on in a year. That can help you determine how many proposals you should send out. Referrals is a great thing. So back to my first government contract, that one was literally a part of the first level, the numbers game. I had bidded on, I don't know how many once I found that out. Then once I won my first one, referrals became a thing. I won my second and third one because of the lady who is the president of the government authority board. On the first one that I won, she referred me for the second and third, and they basically gave them to me because of the work that I did, reliability, the work that I did on the first one. And now they have been with me all for at least 2 years, and they don't. And the beauty of also, I will say, in government contracting, if you do good work, 9 times out of 10, they'll keep you. And it's not just for a one and done. They'll keep you around because they want to contract it out, because they either don't have the expertise and or the time to do what you do. So that's what the beauty of referrals. Partnerships, the certification, the partnerships, that will help you get in the door. That gives you more credibility in their eyes. It puts you, at the top of the list, because it's saying, not only do they have the experience, but they have been vouched for by other high-ranking authority agencies, groups, etc., that will give you the good green eyes, someone has told me, and the procurement officer to say, hey, let's hire them, or even the board that you would be working with, that would be the same thing. And then there's another type of winners where they actually contact you. I've had that happen. There, when I mentioned earlier with sharing your expertise, posting on social media, the spray and pray approach kind of does not work. But if you put out enough content in your specific niche that you work with, someone will find you eventually, and they will reach out to you because they will have a project ready to go that they need, and that will help you out. Putting that content or expertise out there will help you out, because that will put you in a place of being contacted or found a lot easier. So there's many different ways that you can win, but for most, it starts at number one, the numbers game. And really, even now, I don't have it down to 100% science, but there's still part of the numbers game that I have to do, applying for so many proposals throughout the year. But I still hit the numbers that I want to hit. So don't expect yourself to hit every proposal. You kind of don't want to, but applying for more will get you in the game a lot quicker. Excuse me. Did my portfolio help me? Yes. So I'll go with my first one. So it was my first, 2017, I don't know if you may know or may have heard of this, but it's WP Elevation, which is now called Agency Mavericks. I joined that program because I wanted to learn a more formal process of contracting and all that other stuff. And I graduated that December. By then, I've only worked with that government contractor, that one guy that I met, a guy who runs 2 construction companies, and someone who had an online shop. So when I did apply or bid for the first contract, technically I didn't have any specific government experience outside of maybe the contractor, but I was able to communicate the value to that particular client, which I will show you in the proposal I'm going to show you. I was able to communicate to them, hey, I'm here, I'm available. This is the plan that I have set out to build your website. I have experience. This is the type of experience. It may not be directly one-on-one, but it actually shows that I know what to do, and I can, move it along, move around and do what you need done. So having that portfolio it definitely helps. I mean, you might not have the specific experience, but if you communicate the value that you're able to apply, then that would actually help you in the bidding process. Though, good questions, good questions. Maria asks, how many proposals do you usually bid on? Just wondering a ballpark. Gosh, I'll go by month. I usually set it around 30. That sounds like a lot, but because I've created a templated proposal, it really takes me about 20 minutes to complete a proposal. That's on the high end. On the low end, maybe 5 minutes, if that much, because what I mentioned earlier, most RFPs are looking for some of the same content, and I've created a template so I can reuse on each project, so I'm not 100% rewriting proposals every time. So I usually do about 30, and I try to close at least 1 to 2 projects a quarter, and that'll help me hit my goals. But good question though. Let's see, Joe, is your process seamless across states? Seamless across states with certification RFP process. Strategies to compete against larger, more established firms in the government space. Right now, going after bigger projects, I would say the best way that would help you get more or to compete against the more established or larger firms is partner. And not just like with someone like VIP, but actually partner with other developers to create a team, because a lot of government contracts actually are favorable for that. They really like that. They like to see that it's not just you might have a team, or if you have contractors. I've done that. I've bid on projects where I've had to hire contractors, and I've stated that in the proposal, and they're 100%, as long as you're upfront and honest about it, they're 100% okay with that. As far as the larger projects, I mean, if you have the resources to complete it, whether it's by yourself or if you have to partner with others, they're 100%. I've learned that bigger is not always better, but if you have enough to handle what they need, they'll be okay. And believe it or not, the more larger, so I'll say it this way, there are like 2 or 3 players in the government web development space, and I cannot think of their names right now. Revise is one of them, Reviz, Z as in zebra, E, and I can't think of the other. Granicus, they're like the Apple and Microsoft in this space, and they have lost to smaller agencies, and it's primarily there's like a red tape. From what I've been told, there's like a red tape situation. We're working with bigger agencies like that, so a lot of agencies like working with smaller teams because it's a more personable thing. So as far as like the process and the certification, it's seamless. I mean, for me, like, I literally contacted the guy who was over the MBE certification program, and he told me, I told him what I do for a living, how my business is set up. I mean, I have a home office, it's home based and all that stuff. And he told me exactly what I'd submit, and he said, just send it in and we'll get you approved, pending that you have everything that you need. So the RFP process, I do have a process for it. I really just kind of read through the RFP and what they're looking for, and if it sounds good to me, I apply for it. The proposal itself, like I said earlier, it's templated, so most of the stuff that most of these RFPs are looking for, I have it templated. And then, I adjust it based on specifics. Some of them require you to sign like affidavits, or not non-compete, but collusion clause. Make sure you're not doing anything illegal, things like that. So you have to add those type of stuff. But for the most part, it's pretty templated process. About 90% of the work is done, and then I just have to tweak it for each project I go to. Maestro asks, I'm going back, by the way. Maestro asks, some companies feel like they're window shopping more than 50 cents. Yes, tire kickers don't discriminate on industry. They happen in this space too. So don't even even worry about them. You want to focus more on who you're trying to go after, and then the ones who are tire kicking, you can just ignore them when they come your way. It happens. I've had that happen. I've had people try to, negotiate. I'm, since I've gone through certain consulting programs, I've learned to not negotiate on price when I've figured out that what they're looking for, this is the price, and the price is the price. So don't be discouraged by that. Window shopping happens in every industry. Again, I've been at it 10 years and I still get it to this day. Not as much as I used to in the beginning, but I still get it to this day. So that's something that's going to happen. There's room for negotiation only if you allow it. If you don't allow it and they don't accept it, that means that wasn't a good relationship to begin with. So you want to look at it that way. Let's see. Scrolling down, Rob, I'm in that program now. Enjoy it. WP Elevation taught me a lot. Since I've graduated, it has helped me quite a bit. Helped me see things from a more business perspective. People in this space, we have that creative mind, and it's hard for us sometimes to narrow down or focus. And being a part of that program has helped me quite a bit to get to this point. So, oh, and then I didn't answer the other part, Maestro. The price match, don't price match. This is not Walmart. This ain't Target. Whatever your value is, that's your value. Whatever price that you put on it, stick with it. Again, the beauty of working in this contracting space is that many of the projects that you are pitched, or not pitched, but many of the processes that you bid on, they actually have a budget that's set aside for that. And usually if you land in between the budget or budget range, if you get the budget or below or land in between the budget range, that will put you favorably. Best way to find out, ask if you don't see it. I know Prosal, PROSAL.io, the website. I talked with the guy who's the CEO of that, and they actually state the budget on the page when you go to the project. So it'll show like, XYZ organizations look for a website. This is the budget they have available. And if you land in that budget range and you're able to communicate the value that you can provide, that puts you in the seat that you want. So don't get so hung up on trying to price match, trying to, compare your price to other prices. The price is the price. Yesterday's price is not today's price. You'll understand that. So yes, don't worry about the window shoppers. Don't worry about price matching. I'll be honest, like I've won multiple 5-figure deals, and some of them were not the cheapest compared to some of the others, but because of the value I was able to communicate, back with the work I've already done, they're like, you know what you're doing, we're willing to pay for it, and here you go. So don't jump into that game, because it's a race to the bottom. That's really what it is. That's why platforms like Fiverr and all that stuff exist, is that people are looking for the cheapest price, but 9 times out of 10 people are looking for the cheapest price of the worst customers. I hate to say that, but that is completely true. Do you ever get feedback? Destiny posted this. Do you ever get feedback from an entity when you don't land a deal? Any helpful feedback for? Yes. So what I've made a habit of doing is anytime I've been on a project and I don't get it, I always ask, like, thanks for there's a follow-up email I send. Thanks for the opportunity. It's been fun. I'm a very personable person, so anytime I reach out and ask questions, I always open with a warm greeting, like, hey, I'm down here in Texas. It's not as cold where you are, or, things like that. Or, some people know I have kids. I always talk about fun projects and stuff that I'm working on, blah, blah, blah. So I always make that a very personal conversation. So when I'm replying back in the case that I may not land the deal, we still talk about that, but I always ask, is there any feedback that you can provide for me? Anything that you can let me know that will help me become better, so that I can tailor my offering for future cases. And I would say about 99% of the time, they'll reply back and let you know. You know, majority of people, you know, out of 10, 9 of them have replied back and told me. They've been very open and honest about it. What I've been told is never price. I never had a problem with pricing. Well, I take that back. Majority of them, I've never had a problem with pricing. Most cases that I've lost on a deal is because there was someone that was more closely comparable to what they do and have experience in doing that. So to give you an example, there was a activist group out of New York. Same process, same type of project. I bid it for it and I lost because the agency they went with has worked with similar agencies that do the same kind of work that they do. I mean, you'll come into that. Don't get discouraged if that happens. It happens. That's fine. That's part of the process. But yes, I've gotten feedback every time. I try to make sure that's a question that I ask. I've even had to answer the question of why WordPress, you know, and I've lost on a project. I remember this. I lost on a project over the fact that someone on the team had a bad experience with WordPress, and they were at a place in the process that would approve or deny working with them. But the person who I would have been working with, they were willing to want to work with me because of the experience that they have had with WordPress. So again, don't be discouraged because things like that happen. So yes, I get feedback all the time. I always ask that. There's the proposal writing template proprietary. No, it's not proprietary. I'm gonna show you I'm gonna show you a proposal that I've written to win an actual project. So it's not proprietary. I will share it with you. Do you subcontract any of your RFP work? Do you recommend it? Yes, I have. I have subcontract. So I'm not a designer. I cannot design. I suck at it. But I have a guy who I've collaborated with over quite a few years that has helped me. He is in my proposal, not this one I'm gonna show you, but he is in the proposal that I submit. And he's actually based in India, believe it or not. But yes, I do subcontract out the work. And again, like I said earlier, Joe, you may have missed it, but they do not they do not shun it. As long as you're not working like an illegal, you know, they have some countries that by government regulation they can't work with. As long as you're not working or subcontracting and work out to them, those areas, they're completely fine. And as long as you explicitly state that on the proposal, they're cool with it. Do I recommend it? Yes. Delegation would help you scale. So again, you know, another reason why I'm trying to partner with VIP is that I want to get away from hosting. Hosting sucks. So if they could provide the infrastructure and manage all of that, then that will free up more work or more time where I can work specifically on development, which I love to do. So yes, I do recommend subcontracting, even if you yourself can be a subcontractor to someone who's what's considered a prime contractor. That would be something. What type of projects, Maria is asking this question, what type of projects are they looking for? New builds? Yes, it's so most projects that, well, yeah, 9 times out of 10, it's a redesign. They have a website that's been dated for a few years and they want to, you know, they've worked with the branding agency that's refreshed their branding. Even if you have experience as a designer and stuff, there are a lot of branding RFPs that kind of correlate with, you do the branding first and then they have an RFP for the actual development process of the website that's separate from branding. So, you know, there are many different ideas and options there. But mainly it's redesigns. There's very few, because pretty much everybody has a website these days. Very few brand new builds. Usually when it's a new build, it's because it's a new organization that just got started. So, but most of the time it's rebuilds. You know, they're redesigns. There's an agency has a website that they hate. It sucks. They want to switch CMSs. I was working on a CMS to Drupal conversion a couple months ago. So stuff like that. Caleb asks, okay, Alex, I'm glad you dropped that link in there. What is WP Elevation? Very cool organization. Let's see. Yes, that's good information. William Ada dropped it in there. Ask questions. If you don't know, or if you're looking for feedback when bidding on projects, ask. Joe asks, do you feel more government agencies RFP work as WordPress? Do you feel there's a growing trend? Yes. Believe it or not, I'm seeing more and more agencies ask specifically for WordPress, or more and more agencies have an existing WordPress site and they're looking to have it rebuilt. But it's growing. It's growing quite a bit. I mean, there's been a lot of agencies who have, websites that were hacked together, basically. I mean, matter of fact, there's another agency who has a project coming up, and I talked to their communications director, and she's asking me to bid on it because someone internally built this site, did not know what they're doing, added entirely too many plugins for simple stuff that can be done by scratch, and they're wanting to have it rebuilt. So there are a lot of government agencies looking for work in the WordPress space. So yes, it's growing. It's quite a bit. They want CMSs that are flexible. They want CMSs that are secure, and they want CMSs that are easy to use. And that's primarily what they look for. And WordPress solves all that. So yes. All right. So we reached the end. I know we've kind of gone over time a little bit. We reached the end, and I'll show you a proposal in a second. But this is the link. So I'll drop this in here. If you go to that link, it didn't do it. If you go to that link, and there's a form on the page you can fill out, my CRM will send you all of the entire presentation. And there's a bunch of other additional resources in there that they could provide, that are provided for you, that'll help you out. And the last thing I want to show you, I'm going to show you a actual contract, and this is in that email that you'll get to, an actual contract that I used to, or a proposal that I used to win a project that I am now working on. Share screen. Here we go. All right. So okay, this is a government entity. They're called 06 Ward in Texas, because Houston, specifically, the area is so big. They have what's called tax boards, and they manage the economic development of the area that people are in. The first one that I won, I tried to get that proposal, but I couldn't find it because it's been so long. But this was literally a copy and paste of that proposal, and I use it, and you see it's nothing but 9 pages long. It's not that long at all. But they just they had an existing WordPress site. Just to answer your question, Joe, they had an existing WordPress site. They needed help with rebuilding it. They reached out. I sent this in, and it didn't take long. Literally, this is a summary of the actual project itself. They just needed something that was intuitive, that looked good, flexible to use, which is WordPress, and just I actually copied and pasted these 2 lines out of the RFP itself and pasted it in here, because they literally give you a lot of the content that goes in your proposal. That's another tool. You'll learn that in WP Elevation, Rob, that much of the content that they provide in their RFPs, you can put in proposal. My guarantee and my goals is literally just, hey, I want to make sure that you are successful, because if you don't succeed, I don't succeed. So that's primarily what that is. Back to what I was talking about earlier with communication. This is me. It's all me and only me. But, I tell them specifically, I have a project management board. I use Zoom for live meetings, but primarily everything. And I've kind of teetered back and forth between project management boards and just email, but I do not speak to more than 2 people on your team. Because of too many people, too many cooks in the kitchen. You don't want to have 30 people trying to send you, change this, change that, this, that, and the third. So I set that up front. I make sure to let you know, hey, I only work with 2 people at most on your team. And no one has ever had a problem with that. because they actually encourage it, because they don't, same thing, everybody's busy. So usually the communication director or whoever's over marketing and stuff is the person you end up working with. But I tell them up front, like, you know, I just want to make it easier to do business primarily. And then this is me. You know, let's picture, those are they were 7 months in this picture, but those are my twin daughters and my wife. But yeah, I just put the information in here. That's a link to my LinkedIn, but on the updated version of proposal, I have a link to my resume. Sometimes they ask for a copy of the resume. I add it in there anyway, even if they don't ask it, but it's a link. And all of it links back to, if they ask for stuff like that, it links back to my agency website. This is also one big thing that's asked for. This is like the timeline, you know, what's the time of getting the website live once we start. You know, they just want to see an outline. You know, how well can you plan out the project and get it done? I mean, that's really it. They want to see something tangible, and I guess you'll say in writing, but they want to see a plan and see how well you can stick to that. And break that out. I'm very transparent. You know, the cost, breakdown. Some proposals specifically add, this one I bid it on, specifically ask the breakdown of cost. What does each piece of the project cost? Most times I don't. I'll have like a kind of, I've gotten it over now into doing kind of like the 3 package deal with itemized listing, kind of like when you look on a SaaS or you go to like Zoom and you see the different packages and it breaks down the features. I've done it like that now, but some of them ask for this breakdown like this, and I just, you know, provide this to them. I did some preliminary research. You know, this shows the value. I found out that their site didn't have the secure message on there, so I communicated the reason why that. Rob, there is a file actually in, you might have or might not gotten to this point, but there's a file called the blueprint, and they have a blueprint playbook that gives you some of this verbiage that you can put in your proposal to communicate benefits over features, is what they'll say. But that's it. Break it down. This is a $9,000 project. Some have been 10 to 12. I've worked on some up to 50. I was this close to getting a substantial deal off of one. And if I had the partnership in place with VIP, I probably could have won it. So optional features. This is another thing. Payment timeline. You know, you want to get paid on time. So most organizations pay by check. Many of them still use credit cards too. I have a invoicing system, so it, you know, makes it easy to pay. But if they do by check, they'll mail you a check, or sometimes they'll do wire transfer. So look at this. Prior. That's it. I don't have it. This one didn't have the extensive one, but I had a page dedicated to a case study. But by this time, I had already bidded on a couple projects, so I just put my references on there. But just literally a section they want for references and terms and conditions, and that's it. And these terms and conditions basically say, I'm willing to work with you, willing to provide you help. You know, this is the time that I work 9 to 5. At that time, 9 to 5. Now I moved it back to 4. You know, you have ownership of everything, which they really want that explicitly stated in the proposal. And that's it. That really is it. Some of my proposals now are maybe a page or two longer, because there's some other content in there that I've added based on what I now provide. Back then, it was just literally building a website, but there's more I put into sites now with SEO and accessibility and stuff like that. But that's really it. And if you go to that link that I sent you, you would get access to the copy of that proposal. So that is it. How much training is it? How much is training important with the process, especially since it's WordPress? Yes, training is important. They usually ask, and I may have put this in here. Yes. So here, yeah, host a 90-minute. I think you saw that, the 90-minute session. Yeah. All will what checks are in 2001. Yeah, I make sure that I tell them that you know, I train them, help them with the new site, but I'm gonna give you a big thing that's kind of funny. 9 times out of 10, they don't touch the site. I mean, most of my government clients, they come to me when they need some content updated, which I provide unlimited support in that regard. But 9 times out of 10, they don't even choose to access the site. They don't want to get in there. So that's really it. All right. I know we've gone on over some. I tried to pack in as much as I could to try to help you guys out. I know it's quite a bit of information. Thankfully, my cohort, Miss Destiny, has recorded this. So if you want to come back, let's see, Maria. Yes, I do offer maintenance. So any website, this is not just with them, this is anybody that works for me. Any website that I build and launch, I maintain for at least a year. And I tell them that I want to make sure the site is, because I don't like to, and so many agents have done this, I don't like to hold people's website hostage. So I tell them that I choose to work with them for a year to maintain the site for, updates, patching, security. Maybe if I host it, because I do host a couple of my government clients, all that jazz. And to give them the peace of mind that they know they have somebody there just in case if something happens. And then after the year, that's totally up to them if they choose to renew. My track record is currently batting 100%. Every client that I built the white website for has held on with me at least for 2 years or more. So it's worked out well. And Wistina, yes, that is built into my pricing, but I'm going to give you a hack. GoWP. You may or may not have heard them. GoWP. I use them. This Joe speaks to the outsourcing or subcontracting part. GoWP has been my saving grace. Anytime I build a website, I put it on a care plan. I do the maintenance. GoWP is my contractor in that regard. I put them on one of their plans that they offer, and they take care of everything. They make sure the site's maintained. They do security scanning. They do all the plugin theme updates and yes, I do advise working with them. And another reason why I like using them, I actually used to work for them. When I got early on in my career, the guy Brad Harrison, who owns the company, he hired me on as a contractor to test run me for a couple months. It didn't work out only because at the time in my life there was a lot going on and I couldn't keep up. But yes, they're very good people. I met Michael Short, who is one of their account managers. I met him at WordCamp. Met Emily as well. Yeah, they're good people. GoWP, very knowledgeable, very smart group of people. But yes, anytime I build a site, no matter who it is, I always put them on a care plan, and GoWP is the one who handles it. So Joe, do you train your clients on content, daily WPR? Yes, I do. So anytime I train them, I show them like the ropes, how to update pages, how to publish stuff, how to, change content, edit anything, building, if you build custom post types, you got custom fields, maybe a date field, I show them the whole nine. And even a part of the maintenance after for the year, I'm basically, I pose it as I'm a part of your team. And shameless plug, I have a podcast now, hence the new microphone here, called Your Favorite Web Guy. And where that came from was one of my government clients. Anytime we get on calls and we have to do strategy meetings for marketing and stuff, she always calls me that. I'm her favorite web guy. So that's where that came from. But that's what I do. I always I'll drop the link to the podcast. Well, actually, there is not a link. Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. Go any of those, search for I'll put the name in there, Your Favorite Web Guy, and you should be able to get on. Search for that. Amazon, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor. which is my distribution channel. But any of those major platforms, you search that, you'll find it. And it's very actionable. It's like most of my episodes are no more than 10 minutes. I try to make it to the point. Any other questions? Let's see if there's anything that I missed. I hope that answered you, Joe. Destiny, I'll get that to you in a second. Interview me in February. Oh, cool. Yes, sure. Definitely. Yes, Marshall, that is the link. Cool. Yeah. We'll talk later about that. But yes, that's totally fine. Do they have RFP for content strategy? Yes, I've seen there are RFPs out there for pretty much anything. Branding, for marketing strategy, content strategy, for copywriting, for web development, UI UX design, all kinds of stuff. Like I've seen so many RFPs for so many different things just in this space alone. So yes, there's RFPs for everything, Danielle. I've seen it everywhere for everything. And one of the things that I'm actively trying to invest in is to not only do this because it's what I love to do, but just from a growth standpoint, providing other business services to the government once I had nailed this down. So, but yes, content strategy is one. There's plenty of them out there. Okay, yeah, February is a great month, Black History Month. So yes, yeah, I'm definitely on board with that. But anybody else have any questions? I know we've gone over, and I know there's a lot that you want to ask. But is there anything else? I think that may be it.
Woo, thank you so much for your presentation, George. It was so insightful.
Yes. I was thoroughly, I can't tell you guys, I have been like on pins